Hey, everybody, this is Ramon Ray, founder of Smart Hustle Media. Thanks for joining me for what I know is going to be another exciting podcast discussion about all things how to get customers to come back. My guest today may use different words, but that's kind of what we're talking about, and especially in the retail space. So, Donnie, welcome with Lazy Bean Coffee, I want to say, or Cafe, Lazy Bean
Cafe.
Cafe, yes, Lazy Bean Cafe. Donnie, welcome. Thanks for coming to the line. I really appreciate your time. How are things in your world?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Everything's going great, especially since we implemented this whole Clover system. So
love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And talking about Clover, we have Mark, who's the co-founder of Clover, which is a point of sale system and probably more helping retailers grow their businesses. So Mark, thanks for joining us today as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. So Donnie, let's dive right into it. You sell coffee, you sell an experience, and you can touch on that a bit more to set the stage for more what you do at Lazy Bean. And then, why don't we start there? Tell us a little bit about Lazy Bean. Where's it at? Why you're crazy about it? Why it's so good? Why don't we start there first?
Sure. So Lazy Bean Cafe has been around for 20 years. We're located in Teaneck, New Jersey, right in the heart of the business district there. We have a very loyal customer base. We offer tremendous amount of drinks, hot drinks, cold drinks, different sandwiches, frozen yogurt, salad bar, paninis, crepes. It's really mainly a breakfast, let's say brunch to early dinner type place. And just a great experience for people to just come and enjoy, whether it's for 10 minutes or spend the entire day.
Awesome. Love it. And then, Mark, I will turn to you. Why don't you give us a taste, a bit of no pun intended about Clover? What is it? And maybe help position us in the market. Why is what you're doing so important? Many of us go into retailers all the time. We just don't think about those little, whether iPad-based or custom created software solutions. Why don't you give us a bit of understanding of Clover and the marketplace overall for what you're doing?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting story. We started Clover about 10 years ago, and we started it because we were building loyalty programs and things like that. So we actually built this loyalty program that you could earn points. You could walk to your favorite coffee shop and it would detect that you're there, and you could do payment. And then you could just grab your order and leave. And we showed this off to merchants, and merchants loved it. So we could really use this in our business. And they all said, just get it integrated into my point of sale. And when we went out, we went out and looked, we saw the incumbent players. They all had closed platforms. They weren't particularly interested in helping merchants. They're really most interested in protecting their market share and protecting their service fees, because almost all of them charge very large service fees to really do anything. And we thought, well, gosh, we must not be the only organization out there that really wants to help small and medium businesses with new tools and technologies. There must be a whole community of developers out there that would like to bring things. And so we used the iPhone as an example. We said, you know what, used to be the phone. It has a dial tone, you can place calls. They opened up a platform for the iPhone, and then pretty much now everyone can run their entire lives from an iPhone, everything from maps to everything else. And we said, well, why can't we do something similar here? Why can't we go ahead and build why can't we build a platform where the payment transaction is the core, and then we just allow third parties to build on top of it. And that's exactly what we did. And so we built Clover for that reason, just to help merchants.
Nice. So I ask you a political question. Is Clover a solution to get customers to come back, or is Clover a solution to facilitate the payment of goods and services? Which one is it?
Well, the utility function is to handle payments. I mean, that's what we do. Try to provide beautiful hardware that merchants like to have in their stores. And then we also have a platform where we have maybe 500 different software developers that have built specific applications to serve particular verticals and use needs. There's like 1,400 point of sale in the United States, and they all serve, the incredible diversity of merchant needs. And we realize we can't build every feature and every function under the sun to serve everybody. So let's build the core stuff. Let's build build the core stuff that will really help people run their business. And then let's look at partnerships to have them roll out software to help them, go into other verticals and other places. So a dry cleaner POS is not going to work at a coffee shop, for example.
Sure.
So we build a coffee shop, POS, but we also have people who've taken Clover and turned it into a dry cleaner POS by adding different software components and making that available to others.
I love it. Donnie, let's start with you, Donnie, as well. Let's dive into the customer journey. Maybe if you agree, let's you have a different way to do this. Let's start, the customer walks into Lazy Bean Cafe. Why is that so important to think about how can we get them in return, to think about points, to think about gamification, as it were, and you can word this better than me because that's what we're talking about today. Help us understand the customer comes in the door. What's now that retailer, in particular a food retailer, what are you trying to do? Help us unpack why this is so important for you.
Sure. So when I started in the coffee business, I learned right away that you need to have that consistent, habitual customer, the one that come in for their coffee, every day, get that consistent base of what your sales are going to be, and then have them keep expanding the menu, whether it's them buying more products, them bringing their friends in. So I needed to find a system for me that I can instantly communicate with my customers in an easy way, that my staff can communicate with them. They can keep record of what they're buying, what they're purchasing. I can give away free, drinks, percentage off. And I slowly started seeing through Clover with their promotions and rewards app that naturally, even without advertising, that my customers signing up and other customers, we kept increasing month over month by about 10%, just by people walking in and saying, hey, what's this app, that you have to use to get loyalty? And just word of mouth quickly spread over time to kind of, increase my sales, during this entire COVID period as well.
Got it. So if you're not doing that, help paint a picture for if you're not doing that, Clover agnostic. I mean, we know that they're doing that, but just agnostic of them, what's happening? You're using a traditional maybe point of sale system, one that doesn't have it. What's that experience like? Help paint a better picture, even what's the pain point? Because I could come in there, Donnie could recognize me. Hey, Ramon, welcome. What's up? Hey, you want a free bagel with that? Or thanks for coming in, Ramon. You could do that, right? We're cool. You know my name. Or, if Melissa's been there, the barista for, 3 months, she begins to know that I'm there. Or even better for you, it's right near my home. So most likely I'm not going to go anywhere else, or I could be wrong. Maybe that is a problem that I'm not seeing. Help me paint that pain. What are some glaring holes, things that could go wrong if you're not using a system, put it that way?
Just in order of keeping track of different things, everyone wants to see, the latest status of, anything, and whether it's their, bank account or, I can't think of anything,
exercise, like I use my Fitbit for workout maybe or something like that.
I have to keep track of everything, whether it's on any sort of device. And this kind of just organizes it into one system. So
got it.
Everyone's, super, excited about it. They, we can instantly blast rewards, as I said. Another great feature that I love is that if they haven't showed up, within 30 days, an automatic message gets to them, 10% discount to welcome them back. So
I see.
All
Okay.
the features are just so great, and there's really no painful moments with the Clover system for me. So far it's been been incredible.
Sure. And I'm curious for you, Mark, what are you seeing? Please go ahead, Mark. You going to say something? Please.
I was just going to say one of the things that we were really surprised at, Ramon, when we went out and we started talking to merchants about how they run their businesses. One of the things that we found is that lots and lots of businesses were still using the paper punch cards. Like, bring this back.
Yes, my local merchant does. I'm going to have to give him your cell number. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And I do that, but I end up with like a bunch of paper punch cards in the laundry that are damaged, and I never get anything. I never get my discount despite the effort. And so we really
it gets damaged right when you're at number 9. That's the one that your daughter put in the, or whatever, your son or baseball game put in the washer. No, my free coffee's down the.
Exactly.
That's Go exactly. ahead.
And so the other thing that we've really done is to make these things just deadly easy. And so when you start Clover and when you receive it, you take it out of the box. You can go to clover.com, you can load your inventory, it'll automatically propagate to all the devices. Right there, when you log into the Clover dashboard from www.clover.com, it will say there's a link for rewards, and do you want to set up rewards? And then you can just go ahead and set up rewards based on points or dollars or whatever you want it to be. And you can literally do it in a couple minutes.
Got it. And then walk me through, Mark, as best you can, a visual, just to go back to the beginning now. I can use any other brand's POS and add Clover to it because it's cloud-based, or Clover is the POS and you happen to add this rewards component. Just recap that for us, because I think that's critical to those listening, or both options.
Yeah,
clarify that for me.
Clover is the POS.
Okay.
What we found is that if we actually manufacture the hardware ourselves, while it is on Android, that we can actually serve the merchant much better by keeping the price as low as possible. We can add in additional security features. We can do things like pin capture on screen. There's a lot of features and functions that we have the capability to do once you actually control the entire hardware stack. And so, yes, Clover runs on, so the Clover software runs on Clover hardware. There are other Clover apps, like if you want to monitor how your business is doing remotely, there is a Clover app in like the Apple App Store and the Android Store. You can monitor how your business is doing from your iPhone. And then there's a Clover Loyalty, and that's obviously, that's obviously found in Android and the Apple App Store as well.
Got it. Donnie, it seems like, and you may have a better answer, Mark, we'll see, but Donnie, it seems like this is a no-brainer to have a reward system in retail stores, but especially food locations, if that's what you call it, restaurants or whatever you call it, cafe, to get the return customer on a repeat basis. Why do you think that retailers who are resisting may resist it? Or what was your slowness if they're, and maybe you weren't slow, you could have just said, hey, we need this, but being devil's advocate, if you can put yourself in that shoe, what is that resistance? The people who are using punch cards or not doing it? Because I happen to live in the New York City area, as I know you do, Donnie, and many retailers don't. Maybe it's because they're too busy, I don't know. But if you could put yourself in those shoes or speak for them, why do you think they're not even using technology more? That's probably the bigger answer, bigger question. But what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. So I think the restaurant industry in general, especially independents, are a little outdated when it comes to certain technologies. And you really have to find a forward thinker, someone who's going to be not mentally lazy, not physically lazy, not technologically lazy, if that makes sense, to try and see what's best for your business. My old software was not good. It didn't have any of this. It was all wired. It wasn't wireless. And, by doing significant research, to me, Clover was such an easy answer because, as Mark hinted at, that basically the installation is very simple. It has everything you may need. A big thing for me is empowering my employees. So I had to kind of get them on board for a new point of sale system. They've all been with me for years. And the transition was just so smooth. There's, we pretty much did it overnight, and customers just constantly just got on board with this new system and loved it. Another thing, just the hardware, alone is a beautiful system. And for me, I wanted to, put something beautiful in front of my customers. It's like taking out, a front page ad in the newspaper, when your customer gets to the register, you want them to see something nice, and it just checked all the boxes with the system.
This may be a bad joke, Mark, but it sounds like Donnie's saying Clover is clever. You don't have to, maybe that's an old joke, I don't know. Donnie, talk. Was that good, Donnie? Come on, that was half
pretty
decent.
good. That was pretty good.
Mark is like, Ramon, we've heard that 10 years ago. Donnie, touching on you again, Donnie, can you talk about the interaction with your employees? I think is a big thing, even though I assume you're a smaller shop. What's that like for them to learn it? I guess anybody, I'm guessing many are young, and if they can use an iPhone or Android, they could probably use this new app. What was that like, that side of the experience? And then what is it like for the customer side of the experience, the new, I come in the next day, what's that like?
Sure, exactly. So my employees pretty much learned it right away, and maybe about half hour to an hour, training at max. I'm not exaggerating.
Sure.
All my drinks with modifications are very easy to use, very easy to add. I also instructed them, which is a comfort thing for them, on the actual hardware. There's a little button that they can just click if they have an issue, and someone from Clover will actually call us within a couple minutes.
Wow, okay.
If you have an issue, it's not like, let me call this person and wait 20 minutes on a phone and they're in India or Texas or I don't know, it's a very quick, smooth transition. So even if they didn't understand something, they had that security knowing they can just click a button and have that phone call. In regards to the customers like anything new, obviously there is, a kind of transition period. We had a previous outdated loyalty program. One actually did have punch cards, now that you mentioned that.
Sure.
We were a little annoyed about that. We tried to kind of honor it as much as possible, or offer some sort of free drink as compensation. To get rid of that. But once they started using the Clover device and the app and everything, it was great. People loved it. Being able to track exactly what they have.
Got it.
So
and that is how it works. You have the customer, that is one thing they have to do. The customer has to download some app, that maybe QR code or link or whatever. That is the beginning process. You have to download that app, and that starts the process. Like many of the big retailers, right? We all eat at a Chick-fil-A or whatever. All of them have the bigger these bigger brands, I'm going to call it. But for smaller businesses, it seems like services like Clover is kind of the way to go.
100%.
Got it. Mark, anything I didn't ask Mark, about this? Any other tips, advice for loyalty? Any thoughts that you're seeing overall in industry, speaking to the zillions, as it were, of Donnies of the world, Lazy Bean cafes? Any stats, other things you're seeing, that best practices, because you have a bird's eye view, of this whole reward market. What else should we learn?
Yeah, no, I think it really is core to people, how people operate their business, especially in areas, for example, where the coffee shop is. These are competitive places. Sure. And merchants are always looking for an edge. And, probably the best way to have an edge is to form a deep and lasting relationship with your good customers. And people some people really get into these reward programs and feel really rewarded and feel good when they actually see that the merchant recognizes them for returning by giving them something, large or small. It's very much appreciated. And so we've always thought that was something that was core to what we do. And, as we roll this out, you can only imagine that we'll be adding more and more features just to make it even easier for people to buy and pay their favorite merchants.
Absolutely. No, I love it. Donnie, any final words or offers of advice for other retailers, coffee shops that, of course, not competitive with you, but in other parts of the world?
Yeah, really just
other advice for them?
Speaking on Clover, I just think it's definitely the best system. As I said before, I did my fair share of homework.
Sure.
Researched many systems. This is a no-brainer for me, and I think for any small business across the board that wants to become modern, efficient, quick. It's great for the owners, the managers, customers, and everyone's got to keep grinding during this time. Hopefully everyone's business will get back to normal and everyone will be safe and happy and successful.
Hey, with that, what more could I say? I love it, Donnie. Thank you. But Donnie, Lazy Bean Cafe, thank you. Mark with Clover, thank you both very much, talking about the aspect and importance of getting customers to come back, loyalty programs. My name is Ramon Ray, founder and editor of Smart Hustle Media. Find interviews like this at smarthustle.com. If you're listening to this on our podcast, definitely give us a vote, say you like it. If you don't, just don't say anything. But we're really happy that you're here. Again, Ramon Ray, smarthustle.com.